Hey everybody, Ruin the Gaming Dad from the Arc Trade Federation, and today we're showing off one of my favorite dinos to take around any map, and that is the Shadowmane. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump on this Shadowmane, and we're going to start showing it off right away. So this is a male Shadowmane, and one of the things that you can see is that it has natural armor, so you don't need a saddle to mount it. So once you get a Shadowmane, you're off to the races right away. So let's just start showing off some of the cool things that it can do. One of them, if you hit C on the keyboard, it goes into cloak mode. It'll cloak you while you're riding it as well. So if you need to go into an area that might be a little dangerous, you can take the Shadowmane with you and off you go. So there are so many different features with the Shadowmane. So we're going to attack these two Stegos here, and you can see at the bottom, you can see that bar that's blue that's moving up. And that's kind of like just a meter for the Shadowmane. Once it gets to purple and you hold down the left click, it'll do a special attack, and that gives it a much higher damage. You can see how much more damage it did. So over here we've got a bunch of enemies. Now granted, we're on Herb Island, so nothing's going to come after us unless we attack it. But if you have all these enemies, you hold down right click, you can see that bubble go out, and then you let it go, and it attacks all the enemies and stuns them for a minute. That's called the Warp Strike. And that does have a cooldown, but you can see here it just stuns a lot of the enemies. So one thing about the special attack is if you kill an enemy with that special attack, it automatically refills the bar so you can use it again. Because over time that bar will go down, but if you kill an enemy with that finishing strike, your bar automatically jumps up to purple. So really awesome stuff when it comes to the Shadowmane. Let's dump off some of this stuff and level it up. Another thing that's great about the Shadowmane, we jumped into water here. In the top right, you can see the hydrated buff. Much like the Spino, you get a boost from being in the water. And as soon as you get out of the water, that buff will last 30 seconds. So we're going to take out this Stego here and use our special attack to do the finishing blow, and our bar resets and fills back up. So if that wasn't enough, we're going to go ahead and we're going to throw on some scuba gear and take the Shadowmane into the water. So the Shadowmane breathes underwater, so you can do all of these attacks underwater. You can see I just did a finishing strike, and then Megalodon refilled the bar because it killed it. So we're going to take it around here and try and take out a few more water dinos. You can see as this shark attacks me, you can see that little cloud around it. That's the Thornmail poison. So as any Shadowmane gets attacked, it does have like a debuff to the other dinos that attack it. You can see it doesn't do a ton of damage, but anytime something attacks it, it kind of gives that buff over time, or the debuff over time, that actually creates damage onto the thing that attacks it, which is really, really great. So you can see what kind of work this thing can do underwater, just like it can on land. We can really get some stuff done. So we're going to kill this stuff out of the inventory. And let's just swim around some more and we can see some other stuff. So again, great dino to take underwater. You got to be careful though. You can get shocked off by Electrophorus, and you can get shocked by Cindarius. So it is not like the whale, the basil, or the Tuso, where it's immune to that. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. But you can see we've got a lot of dinos around, and we're using that finishing strike, and it's killing the dino that it's attacking and automatically refilling that bar. Another thing you can use underwater is the Warp Strike. So you can still use the Warp Strike underwater. If you do get into a little bit of trouble and you need to go after multiple dinos to kind of stun them and even get out, there you go, you can use the Warp Strike. So all those things are great. But we're going to throw out a female now. So we've got a male and a female. They're mate boosted. So when you do that, you get even more benefits from the Shadowmane. So let's make sure that this Shadowmane is on attack our target real fast. It is. And we'll hop on the male, set to follow. And while you have that, you can see we've got the Warp Strike ability still. You can see the kind of levels of damage that it does. And we'll take out these Stegos. And also show you some of the other great stuff. So if you hit X, you can see that the Shadowmane, let's get the levels out of the way first. We're going to hit X, and you can see that it does a pack leader roar. So you get all kinds of other great benefits from that as well. So we're going to Warp Strike again. And you can see just the amounts of damage that we're doing now with the pack leader buff enabled, you can just, it's an insane amount of damage. This Shadowmane is leveled, but you can see now we're doing 2200 damage on the finishing strike, which is just insane. When you take the hydrated buff, the pack leader buff, all those things together, it's just an insane amount of damage, which is really, really, really great. Now let's jump on the female. So the female, when you take out this dino out of the way, the female, when you hit X, not only will cloak you and the dino, but all the dinos around it as well. So you can see that everything's invisible, which is great. So if you really need to sneak around some areas, you want to have the whole group with you, you can just use this buff on the female to have everyone be cloaked, which is just insane when you think about all the things that Shadowmane does already, plus all these extra added perks. So we'll take this Shadowmane down here, and we're going to use that Warp Strike ability again. You can see just the levels of damage, how much it shocks those things and stops them for a few seconds. Just really, really, really great stuff. This is why I use a Shadowmane everywhere I go. Also, if you hold down spacebar, the Shadowmane will charge up a jump, and it doesn't take fall damage unless you jump from a very, very high cliff or mountainside. So, just so many great things with the Shadowmane. This is why we use it everywhere we go. So, just wanted to say thanks for watching. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. We'd appreciate it. And we'll see you all on the next video.